Am I the asshole for ordering something special for my daughter without telling husband? My daughter is starting kindergarten tomorrow and has been extremely nervous all summer. While browsing Amazon, I came across first day of school chalkboards and bought one with chalk markers to do with my daughter the night before school starts. They came in the mail very quickly, so I put them aside with a few other purchases as I didn't need them for a few days, and the family was getting ready to go away for a Labor Day vacation. Cue tonight, the Monday before school starts. My daughter and I went to pick up some school supplies and then returned home to play in the pool. In the yard, my husband refused to be outside with myself and the kids. I also have a 2M because the weather was hot. He played video games for 2 hours. When the kids and I went inside at 6 p.m., I gave the kids baths. It was my night, and then cooked dinner for everyone. After dinner, I sat down with Tegan to fill out the chalkboards so it would dry for tomorrow's picture. I also wanted to relax for a few minutes. Husband came storming in the living room where we were sitting. Immediately, he started arguing with me over the boards. He was upset because 1. I didn't ask him before purchasing or show him what I was purchasing. 2. I didn't inform him of the purchase. 3. I didn't inform him what the boards were or when I was going to fill them out with my daughter. He accused me, in front of my daughter, of being selfish, inconsiderate and rude in regards to his feelings. He called me disgusting. When I suggested he sit down with us on the couch, he claimed he was still eating and therefore not ready. When I reminded him the boards were about our daughter going to K, he replied that I screwed up in not including him. I once again invited him to sit on the couch with us, but he said no. He went into the kitchen and hasn't spoken to me since, even though I have been reminding him that we will be taking pictures tomorrow and we will be dropping her off together. Was I an asshole in not sharing simple boards with him before purchasing? The whole point is for my daughter to hold them while we celebrate this milestone with her, not to worry about who is filling them out. Did I screw up? I thought as parents we were supposed to be caring about our daughter and her worries about school. Was I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your husband sounds like an abusive, lazy, childish jerk. If he calls you disgusting in front of your child, it's only a matter of time before his ugly behavior escalates. And he won't stop with you. Your children are at risk, physically and emotionally, with this asshole as their father. Get out while you can and give your kids a chance at a good life. Not the asshole, but your husband sure is. Is he always this irrational and controlling? This is a major red flag. Why did you marry this man? Not the asshole. Info. His reaction is extreme. What if you reacted this way to him not joining pool time? Parenting is a give and take experience. Disgusting is not your behavior. What else could be going on with him? My ex threw a fit when my children were younger. Around 9 and 11, I spent $300 on school clothes, backpacks, school supplies for 2 kids. He accused me of not living on a budget. Yet, he would go to bars. Had his hobbies etc. The next day, I filed for divorce. That was over 25 years ago and I've never been happier that I'm no longer with a controlling op. Is not ta. She shouldn't have to ask permission to buy anything for her children. Within means. Especially when it's for educational reasons. Not the asshole. You should have been out the door after the cookie incident. Not the asshole. His reaction seems wildly out of proportion to the situation. Red flags going off here. Not the asshole. Your husband turned a lovely project with your child to motivate her to celebrate starting kindergarten into a terrifying outburst of rage. Abusers are often good time ruiners like that. He's controlling and abusive. Creating rules you broke after the fact as an excuse to rage at you and your children. Your children are growing up believing this is normal. How you respond to his abusive behavior will be part of their beliefs about what marriage and relationships are like. Not the asshole. Unless you stay with this jerk and ruin your children's childhood. WTF is wrong with him? This is 100 unacceptable behavior. Also, how can he still be eating dinner if you and the kids are in the living room? Are you not having dinner together? My goodness. Talk about destroying what should be a really important, loving shared experience for the family. Not the asshole. The only mistake you made was marrying this man and having children with him. He is definitely the Edit. I just read all the comments and your replies. Your husband is a full-on red flag waving and I highly recommend you get your child away from him before she begins to think this is how a man is supposed to act. Info. Is money so tight that the purchase of those boards will mess with your monthly budget? If so, then you are the When money troubles surface, even the smallest purchases can make a big difference. If not, he is the Does he overreact like this to a lot of things? Is this new behavior? What else does he feel he needs to have full control of? Does he usually speak to you like this? Not the asshole. If this behavior is common, you need help. Please reach out for help. Please stay safe. Not the asshole. And that is a massive overreaction. You are not tough for not asking, informing him that you bought these off of Amazon. Could there be something going on that you don't know about? Issues at work? Possibly losing his job? Money troubles? Or is this his normal behavior? Question. OP. Would you want your daughter to be married to a man like him? If the answer is no, then I hope you can also see that you are worth being just as happy as you would want her to be. Not the asshole. Your husband has mastered the art of coming out in a full-on attack to swamp you and any expectations you may have of him. He has you on the ropes defending yourself for taking care of things while he fucks off endlessly. Neat trick. If he can get you to defend yourself, you won't have any time to call him out on his bullshit. I recommend you read Why Does He Do That by Lundy Bancroft. You will see your spouse between the covers of this book. Just read your posts and comments. Reddit is telling you your husband is an abusive pod. Stop posting until you leave him. Not the asshole. I routinely do stuff like that and my husband's response is always something like, "Oh, great idea. Thanks for thinking of it. You are a great mom." Your husband's reaction is wildly inappropriate. Your husband is 41. How old are you? He's verbally abusing you and the last time you posted he was telling you he wished you weren't there. What are you doing modeling this for her kids? Why do you have 2 kids with this angry asshole? Leave him in awe for this situation. But you're the asshole for teaching your daughter that it's okay to treat people like that. Even more so, you are teaching her it's okay for men to treat her like that. I spent almost 10 years with a man who was like this. And I initially chose the route of stay for the kids but left him the first time he raised a hand. To me, my kids are teens now. Been in therapy for years due to the BS their dad put me and eventually them through. It won't change. It will get worse and he will treat your kids this way. Honey, you're in an abusive relationship. I think you have to sit down and think about everything and make a decision that benefits you and your children. It is not normal or okay for children to grow up with an abusive father who does not respect their mother. You deserve better and be calm. I'm pretty sure you already do most of the things around the house and with the kids. Take the dead weight off your husband, not the asshole. Not the asshole. WTF did I just read? Look through your past posts. You need to get your kids out of this situation. Not the asshole.
Am I the asshole? For telling everyone why my cousin isn't invited to my wedding? I am marrying the love of my life Yael next spring. We live on the West Coast. However, we're having the wedding in Florida because that is where Yael's grandparents and great-grandmother live. It's important for us if they were there because they mostly raised her. I have a larger family and I'm not close most of them because they're the worst. One of my cousins 22NB is pissed about this for obvious reasons. I get that the situation there is shitty. As I didn't invite them, they don't have to go if they don't want to. The cousin decides to try and put me on blast for the wedding location. I end up posting a rebuttal I didn't invite my cousin because of something they did 4 years ago. Which was making a prank video where they trick my Jewish girlfriend Yael into eating pork. I still have the video saved as evidence of why my side of the family sucks. I don't want someone who pulled a stunt like that anywhere near my very Jewish in-laws, one of whom is a Holocaust survivor. So I posted that and now everyone my cousin knew is turning against them. My cousin called me freaking out because their boss saw it and now they got let go. I replied that it sucks to suck and hung up. I think I'm doing it right by protecting the people I call my family. But some of our friends I went overkill on the video since it cost someone their livelihood. Not the asshole. Your cousin brought it down on themselves. They didn't need to publicly blast you, and you don't need to protect them from their own misdeeds. The pork prank is deeply offensive. Not the asshole. Not being anti-Semitic is a reasonable standard to have when creating a guest list. Not the asshole. While I understand your cousin's issue about Florida, they proved they aren't above acting like Florida. Discrimination isn't cool no matter who it is. Your cousin clearly needs to learn this the hard way as they have zero boundaries for other people. Sucks to suck, indeed. Not the asshole. You aren't having the wedding in Florida to spite your cousin. You are not inviting them because they are non-binary. You aren't inviting them because they purposefully engaged in having your fiancé break one of her religious taboos without her consent. That amounts to a hate crime at worst and assault at best in my mind. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. There's a Seinfeld plot similar to this, where George tricks Jerry's more religiously Jewish GF into eating lobster. Often considered one of the more evil things he did, and he did some terrible things. Not the asshole. Lol. Lamo even. As someone in the LGBTQ community, I cannot fathom people who belong to this persecuted group, harp on about our persecution, and then do purposeful harm to other historically oppressed minorities. Actually, I can. It's probably the blatant narcissism. Enjoy your wedding. Not the asshole. There can't be receipts or evidence if you don't act like an idiot. There is no deadline for FAFO and your cousin is only mad they had to pay the piper. Anyway, yes, congrats on your upcoming nuptials. Have a slice of cake for dear old Kutso. Not the asshole. You didn't even invite your cousin and they brought all of this on themselves. Not the asshole. Your family is not entitled to a relationship with you just because they're related. Your cousin crossed a massive boundary and showed you their lack of respect for you. They cannot expect to maintain access to your personal lives. If they didn't want the truth to come out, they should not have called you out and belittled you publicly on social media. They chose the arena, and it backfired. Your allegiance is to your soon-to-be wife. Don't waste any time on fools when you could be spending it with her. Congrats on the wedding and wishing you two all the best. Not the asshole. They made a video of their crime for Yox. You're sharing it and people aren't laughing. Sucks to be that cousin. Tell cousin maybe they should visit Florida to find other people to laugh about it. Play stupid games. Not the asshole. Natar. It's wild they would do something like that and pretend to take a moral high ground. I get PPA can change, but that's pretty bad. Not the asshole. There's a simple way to not get fired for anti-Semitic behavior. Don't do shit that's obviously anti-Semitic. They made their bed and they can lie in it. It's amazing that you're thinking about protecting who is more deserving. I hope you have a lovely and beautiful wedding and life with your chosen family. Not the asshole. Cousin wasn't even invited, so didn't need to worry about the wedding being in Florida. They wouldn't have been invited if it was in their house. What an idiot. Good to be rid of them, they pushed too hard and lost. Congrats on the wedding. Not the asshole. The world is a shittier place when you don't know who you can trust. As far as I'm concerned, you did a good thing by revealing how bad the cousin is to the rest of your family. I also applaud you for not fucking around, and just squashing their tantrum before the favoritism game started. Nata. Your cousin got what they deserved. That's some sick shit. Face the consequences of your actions. People need to realize social media isn't private, and what you out there matters. I remember before going to college, we got warned that what we put on ours could have ramifications. That was in the beginning of social media. Don't want consequences for being a bigot, don't be a bigot, and definitely don't film yourself being a bigot and distribute the copies. Not the asshole for exposing a bigot. Not the asshole. Actions have consequences. Good job. Take care. That is so nasty of the cousin. Not the asshole, and hopefully never speak to it again. Food taboos are not to be messed with. Whether they religious, dietary, health, allergies or preference. And wow, a Holocaust survivor. How wonderful to have them there. Funny. They're complaining about Floridians being intolerant, and yet they themselves are equally if not more intolerant. Freaking are. Not the asshole. I wouldn't invite them either. Not the asshole. Imagine pretending you're offended about Florida and then pulling an anti-Semitic prank on a Jewish woman. Not the asshole. Your right sucks to suck. Not the asshole. My dad's side is Jewish and decided against raising their kids as Jewish after severe anti-Semitism and World War II. It was hidden from us grandkids' and still not discussed, sadly. I wouldn't want your cousins around her family either. Also congrats on your wedding, L'chaim. Not the asshole. You are not doing anything wrong by not inviting cousin. They tried to tell lies about why they were not invited and wanted to play hardball, and you fired back with a zinger. Well played. I hope your wedding is beautiful and everything you and your fiancé hope it will be. I hope your cousin learns a valuable lesson from this. Perhaps this time your cousin will learn not to be an at every possible opportunity. Not the asshole. If your cousin didn't want to be fired for anti-Semitism, he could have tried not being an anti-Semite. Not the asshole. You are just defending your life partner, and there is nothing wrong with that. What your cousin did was horrible. Just to add for my non-America self, what's up with Florida? I really don't know. Not the asshole. As a Jewish person, thank you for defending her so fervently. Mazel tov to you and Yael, Blue Heart. Not the asshole. Screw your cousin. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Holy smokes, did your cousin, who maybe had a point about the situation in Florida, nosedive face first from the high ground into a sub-basement floor with that prank? They lost their job because of it? Good. Not the asshole. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It doesn't matter how your cousin identifies, they are still a massive jerk for pulling a stunt like that. You didn't edit the video to make them look bad, they did that all by themselves, plus you only posted it after they had provoked you online. Not the asshole at all. Let's see the facts. Your NB cousins who had already offensively treated your future wife. Lies in a post on SM calling you a homophobe for forcing her to go to FL for a wedding to which she is not invited to because of her previously deeply offensive anti-Semitic actions. You then clarify the issue explaining that she is not invited in why. Cousin then experiences repercussions for both the anti-Semitism and the lie, trying to make you look bad. Sounds like a good outcome to me.
Am I the asshole for refusing to do any more joint parties with my ex for our kids? I have 3 kids with my ex-wife Sammy. We divorced when our youngest was still a baby. Our kids are now 11, 10 and 8. Sammy has been married to Joe for the last 2 years. Sammy and I disagreed a lot on parenting, which is ultimately what drove us apart. We did mediation and co-parenting classes during our divorce recommended by the judge. The recommendation was that we communicate about schedules and parenting conflicts on the Our Family Wizard app, but to try and work on coming together for our kids. So we did just that. Discussed parenting via the app and tried to show we could be civil in front of our kids. We even did some joint parties together for birthdays and such. Ever since Sammy married Joe, things have changed. He's a lot more strict than Sammy, and he has undermined me in front of the kids a number of times. And both Sammy and Joe have become annoyed when the kids listen to me over Joe. Examples are 11-year-old had a family day to raise money for his rec football team. We went together and it was my parenting time, so the kids were home with me that week. They had lemonade there for people to drink and water and fruit juice. My oldest wanted lemonade and asked me if he could get some. I said of course, and said after me that he could not. That he was only allowed water and knew that. I encouraged him to go ahead and told them that the kids are allowed more than water with me. That same day my youngest wanted to join his older siblings on the bounce house. I said sure, and I would go watch to make sure he was okay. Joe said it was not a good idea and he should stay with them. Another time at my daughter's birthday party at my house and my parenting time, she wanted to know if I would come and let her and the other kids bounce me around on the bounce house. Joe butted in and said he didn't want her having an adult on with kids. This kind of thing happens frequently. I have mentioned it to them that I do not appreciate it and I do not interfere on their parenting time. But I have been dismissed repeatedly, and Joe has told me that I am not a good parent and they don't approve. So I decided no more joint stuff like this. We can attend the same functions, but we should not all sit together, and stop with the throwing joint parties with both sides. I spoke to my kids and they said it might be better since their mom and Joe don't like when they listen to me over Joe. I informed my ex and Joe and they said I was an ass and was not putting the kids first. I responded that it was them not putting the kids first by disrespecting me in front of the kids. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Contradicting you in front of the children at every turn is really not acceptable behavior, and your ex should be recognizing this, especially in your own home. Let alone when the kids are on your time. Sounds like Joe needs to stay in his lane. And if Sammy can't see that, then the situation has changed from the original agreement and may need to go back to mediation to resolve, including Joe this time. Not the asshole. Sounds like your kids get it. Joe needs to back off and mind his own business. They are not his kids to raise. He can support your ex, not decide for her or for you. He has no place in that discussion. If didn't like her parenting style, he shouldn't have married her in the first place. Consult a lawyer. You might not want to change custody right now, but you need to document everything. I think your wife will be consulting a lawyer too, claiming you're the bad parent. Not the asshole. If Joe is going to disagree with you in front of the kids, he's the one making joint parenting functions unworkable. He should attend the parenting classes too, so everyone is on the same page. But since that's not practical, your solution is reasonable. It's fairly normal too. Well, this sucks for your kids. Keep them out of this as much as possible. Why can't Joe just keep his mouth shut when you're around? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You are putting your kids first though, just based on the way Joe is acting, and how they don't like the kids listening to you over them. I wouldn't be surprised if they were being punished for not listening while at mom's. Never mind, it has to be confusing for the kids who they should or shouldn't listen to and when. And there is no circumstance where Joe or Sammy should be undermining you in front of the children. This is obviously something that goes both ways. But if it is any consolation, it seems like the kids trust you more than Sammy and Joe. Evident by them listening to you over them. Bro, fuck your ex-wife and Joe. Joe sounds like he says no just to say no, without any particular reason to do so. That's a control-fear style of parenting that will not get him far. You've made a good choice and should probably prepare to have the kids full-time once they are considered old enough to choose who they want to live with. AITA. I'd say not the asshole. Overly strict parents drive their kids away in the long run, even though sometimes they really do want the best for them. Things like lemonade at parties should not be forbidden. And undermining you in front of the kids is really a shitty move. Well done to you for standing your ground. AITA, they sound lovely, lol, putting kids in the middle. And do they only ever drink water? Not the asshole, you sound like you're doing the best for your kids and Joe isn't their dad there. Mom should stick up for them more. Not the asshole. Go back to court. He has no rights at all to behave like this. And a judge will agree. You and Sammy are the parents. And his opinion is not only meaningless, but causing massive problems. Repeat in the app every time that he does not get to push his opinion on you. Your kids will appreciate someone standing up for them against this drill sergeant who is trying to rule their lives with an iron fist. You're not a bad parent at all, you're a good one. Ignore his nonsense and get it written into the custody agreement that he needs to keep his nose out. Or try to get more custody for yourself. Not the asshole. Joe has told me that I am not a good parent and they don't approve. Fortunately, it is none of Joe's business, and it seems like he is spoiling for some kind of alpha role. Sadly, this might end up in a calm and amicable separation of activities. I would not want to be around this man. I informed my ex and Joe and they said I was an ass and was not putting the kids first. So it's fully okay for them to undermine you and weaponize the kids, but the second you say something or ask please for Joe to stay in his lane, you're the bad guy disadvantaging them. Joe is not a nice man. Not the asshole, you did a good job. Not the asshole. You have shown restraint and patience with them, but the bad parenting comments by your ex and Joe are way out of line. You've made the right choice by not doing joint parties anymore, and being civil is all you're required to do from now on. Not the asshole. Sounds like you're handling this well. Better to separate things now, before too much resentment builds up. I think your kids understand that you are their dad. And Joe is the guy who is their mom. So I think Joe needs to understand that and back off. Let your wife know that, and if it does not end it, speak to your lawyer. Hard. Not the asshole. Is it at all possible to have the joint events, and when it's your custody time, Joe stays home? Not the asshole. This actually is you putting your kids first. Not the asshole. They are not trying to co-parent. They are trying to counter-parent. I would recommend looking into parallel parenting and trying that. Mom's rules are great for mom's house, but at my house I make the rules so long as they don't violate anything agreed upon inside any legal agreements. You may get pushback on this, saying you are confusing the kids. But that's typically just a way to maintain control while the kids are with you. Kids can understand different locations having different rules. That's why they raise their hand to speak at school, but hopefully don't do so at home. And are not confused by this. Not the asshole. I would go to court and have time limited with Joe. Joe isn't the parent and he sounds like a complete ass. If you have the room for the children, they are getting to the age where most courts will take their opinions into consideration.
Am I the asshole? For asking a student midwife to leave my appointment and denying her a learning opportunity? I F32 am currently 37 weeks pregnant, and was at my obstetrics appointment yesterday with my husband M33. This is our first child, and I have been quite lucky so far with the pregnancy, but I have been having some unaccounted for pain which is making me quite concerned. I went to the ER 4 days ago, and the doctor on call checked me out and told me it was safe to go home but that I should bring it up at my routine appointment seeing as it was so soon yesterday. Obviously this has my husband and I quite nervous, so I was hoping for some answers when we saw the obstetrician. When I walked into my appointment with my husband, it was the usual Dr. F40S, as well as a younger girl F20S who I had not met before. The younger girl was introduced as a trainee midwife who would be listening in on the appointment. I didn't have an issue with this, although it would have been nice to have been asked rather than having this sprung on us. Never mind, the appointment carried on. The student midwife was not at all confident in what she was doing. It was clear that I was one of the first patients she had seen and she was very shaky and shy. Again, no issues, we all need to learn somehow. My actual issue arose when I was describing the pain to the doctor and the fact it feels like I can't breathe when it hits. The student midwife started laughing when I said that, but the doctor gave her a stern look and she stopped. Then as I carried on with my description and an overview of what happened in the ER, the student midwife said almost to herself, "I have never seen a stillbirth before." I say almost to herself because it seemed to come out of her mouth unconsciously and almost as if she was thinking it and didn't realize she had said it, but I got very upset. I looked the student midwife right in the eyes and told her to get out. She looked like a deer in headlights, but I stood up and told the doctor that one of us was leaving and if it wasn't going to be the midwife, then it would be me. My doctor asked the midwife if she could please leave the room, and she was quite apologetic with me but told me to be understanding because the student midwife was still young and learning. My husband supported me and told the doctor that we do not want to see the student midwife again. The rest of the appointment carried on like normal, but I called my mom F67 in tears when we were in the car. I felt like I had held it together in the hospital, but I just wanted to vent to my mom. She shocked me, though, by saying that I had been unfair to the student midwife and that she needed these learning opportunities so that she could develop a bedside manner. Now I feel a little bad about my reaction, and am wondering if I was not the asshole. You didn't even deny her a learning opportunity. She learned the hard way that her patients are human beings with feelings and emotions, and that she should treat them as such. Jesus, not the asshole. Why didn't the obgyn kick her out after she laughed at your symptoms? Then implying that your baby was going to die? You probably could have decked the girl and you still wouldn't be the asshole. If anything, you taught her a great lesson. Maybe she should look into a different line of work. Not the asshole, this is her learning experience. She'll now be very, very careful about what words she utters when dealing with patients. This is her lesson for the rest of her career. Not the asshole at all. I'm very disappointed that your regular doctor didn't throw that student out. That was an absolutely disgusting thing for her to say. Not the asshole at all, she should have learned the appropriate bedside manner before coming into your appointment. Your obgyn is also partly the as. 1. She should have briefed the student before your appointment and explained what is appropriate. 2. She should have asked for your permission before allowing the student to stay. Edit grammar. If she doesn't know not to say that at this point, I'm not convinced she'll ever have any bedside manner to speak of. There's inexperience and then there's rank stupidity and selfishness. Nata. Glad your husband said to keep her away from you. Not the asshole 1 billion. She laughed about a stillbirth in a professional setting in front of a pregnant woman who was describing a pregnancy complication that has her worried. Who would ever call you TA? I'm also 10,000 sure you have helped improve her bedside manner by asking her to leave. I don't think she will ever do it again. Being young is no excuse for being awful. I'm sorry this happened. Good luck with the rest of your pregnancy and birth. Not the asshole. If she can't shut her trap, she is not entitled to learning opportunities. Having tact is also a part of her training, and until she learns it, she needn't be in any appointments. Edit to clarify. Not the asshole. Of course a student midwife needs to learn. Among other things they need to learn is how to behave in front of a patient. I hope you're okay. Not the asshole. I'd be horrified if someone I was supervising said something so awful. That's the type of comment I'd report to their educational program. If it's a one-off they may get cautioned, but if it's a pattern they're not suited to healthcare. Hope everything is okay with you and your baby, and good luck with the birth and parenthood X. Not the asshole. Students need opportunities to learn, that's not at the expense of your comfort. Not the asshole. This actually tells me that she isn't fit to work as an OB, should be in another part of the hospital training if she thinks pregnancy pain is funny, or that allowing thoughts like that to even pop in by simply hearing about pain shows her mindset while learning, but would be suited to other parts of hospital where it's viable for her to understand someone's pain. Keep her thoughts to herself. This is a learning day. She won't forget. A good learner. She learned about what not to do. That apologizes, don't change fact, or always fix things. Good luck through rest of pregnancy op. Not the asshole. And your mother is being ridiculous. You can't train a bedside manner onto someone who laughs at pain and gets excited by the idea of, well, you know. The doctor owes you an apology for not asking your permission for that student's presence firstly, and secondly for subjecting any patient to someone so callous and unqualified. Honestly, I hope that girl is kicked out of the midwife program. She has the wrong temperament. Not the asshole. You are the patient and your health and comfort are the priority. You were gracious enough to allow her to sit in, even though, like you said, you should have been asked, not told, and she blew her opportunity. You don't owe her a chance to learn. You handle that perfectly, and hopefully she got a stern warning from the doc after you left. Not the asshole. I was getting a pap smear done, and my male doctor waved in several medical students right before we started, and I had no time to protest. I wish I complained, as it was extremely upsetting. Never feel bad advocating for yourself in a medical setting, and especially not after the student midwife said, "Hoping you have a safe delivery." Not the asshole. Being asked to leave is the learning opportunity. If she cannot control her inappropriate laughter and comments, she will not get very far in a field that requires complete trust and vulnerability from patients. Having this smoothed over, while you left in tears, is the last thing she needs. And either way, your feelings as the patient receiving care trump those of the trainee in your appointment any day. Not the asshole. And being thrown out of the room for making stupid, insensitive comments is an excellent, time-honored learning opportunity that the student has now experienced. Not the asshole. Unsure how it works in the US, but in the UK, anytime I've been seen by a doctor, dentist, midwife and there's been a trainee, the first thing they've done is made an introduction and asked for permission for them to either sit in or conduct the examination. That young lass obviously has a lot more learning to do before they let her in a room with patients. Not the asshole. Yes, she needs to learn. She learned a lesson. And you need to feel comfortable in your appointment. Your actions achieved both. Good on you for sticking up for yourself. Not the asshole. I'm not a midwife or training to be, and I know not to say something like that. It's who she is. She won't be in the field very long. Not the asshole. Highly unprofessional. If she can't filter herself, then maybe she shouldn't be in that line of work. The last thing an already stressed mother-to-be needs is more stress. That kind of behavior is unacceptable for someone in her field. Newbie or not. She isn't a child, she's a fully grown adult. Completely her fault and not yours.
Am I the asshole for telling my son, why don't you beg? I got out of a shitty relationship with my ex. It was a nightmare of a divorce, and I got the blame even though the kids know he cheated on me. I got the blame since I asked for the divorce. This happens when our oldest was 15. Let's call him Eric. He was a nightmare at the time. He bullied his younger sibling. I had to drag him to therapy where he refused to talk. We tried people he picked, but it was a nightmare. He wanted to live with my ex, but he didn't want him to live with him. When he went to college, I had hope that him spreading his wings will help him, since nothing I did worked. It did not. He basically pretended no one existed unless he needed cash. My breaking point with him was he was 21 and I gave him a text asking if he will make it for Christmas. He told me to beg him to come and he will consider it. I refused. Gave an invite and he didn't show. I kept giving him invites to family events but stopped this year. He is now 25. My 2 daughters are official no contact with him this year. We are in contact, but it's rare we talk. He called yesterday asking if I could talk to his sisters and convince them to meet up with him. I told him to leave them alone, but he kept going. After a while of him not taking my no for an answer, I told him, why don't you beg and I will consider it. He got pissed, called me a jerk and hung up. Maybe I went too far with him, but it's so hard to tell, so I came for an outside opinion. Not the asshole. His sisters do not want to have a relationship with him because of the person he chooses to be. They have every right to be respected by keeping toxic people out of their lives and not talk to their brother. You were protecting their interests. I believe you said what you said out of frustration. And you were being nagged to your snapping point. Not the asshole. He got a taste of his own medicine. His life is lonely and empty because he pushed the people that care about him away. Welcome to Find Out Avenue. It's one exit past F around Boulevard. Not the asshole. He's an adult. He was an adult when he said the words you threw back at him. Not the asshole. Son, you've been an asshole for a long time to the rest of us. If you want to mend your relationship with your sisters, you're going to need to take responsibility for that and make the effort. Nobody in this family owes you a relationship. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Rotten little shit. Not the asshole. It's okay for him to order you to beg him so he'd attend Christmas and other family events. But it's suddenly not when it's his turn to beg for his sister's attention. He's 25. He has to learn actions have consequences, and what is good for him is also good for others. Not the asshole. He was old enough for him to be blunt to his mother. Which is fair enough. His choice and decision. You are equally entitled to be blunt in return, so not the asshole. Info: why is he trying to contact his sisters? They are all adults now. There's no reason for you to interfere with their relationship. Not the asshole. You did everything you possibly could in a shitty situation, but your son has made his own choices. Love him from afar, but don't let him treat you the same way your ex did. Which is exactly how this reads to me. Maybe his head will come out of his ass someday. Even your daughters recognize how toxic he is. If any of you ever welcome him back into your lives, it will be on your terms because he has showed remorse, improvement, love. You're not the asshole. But I completely misread your title. It immediately made me think of the old Sherlock Holmes story. The man with the twisted lip. In that story, a middle-class man leaves his home on the outskirts of London each day for the city. He goes to a small apartment, transforms himself into a vagrant, and goes out to beg for a living. And he does well. I thought you were telling your son to do something similar. Not the asshole. Your son is now getting a dose of reality. No one wants to be friends with a shitty person, and he acted like a pretty shitty person. If you just forced your daughters to have a relationship with their brother who doesn't respect their boundaries, you could end the male loneliness epidemic. There's something really disturbing about him telling you to beg to see him. Like he wants to see you in pain and emotional duress. Not the asshole. You did exactly what he needed. Hopefully it's not too little too late. AITA. Not the asshole. It's a bit snarky, but he's an adult and can deal. It sounds as if your daughters are old enough to make their own decisions. And if so, he can reach out to them directly. If they've blocked him, there's actual mail. Decisions have consequences. And it sounds like he's perhaps beginning to rue some of his. Nonetheless, it's up to him to rectify any choices that he made to cause such alienation. He played Fafo, not the asshole. You probably shouldn't have said it because it wasn't helpful. But honestly, who could resist? Soft, you're the asshole. Not the asshole. If holding up a mirror to himself makes him mad, he should be angry with himself, not you. Hopefully this might be an opportunity to better himself. Not the asshole. Eric reaped what he sowed. Not the asshole. You shouldn't have to beg your child to spend a holiday with you. You live by the beg, you beg to not live by the beg. Karma is a dish best served cold. No, it's not you. Not the asshole. Sad situation, but you did all you could on your end. Not the asshole. It isn't your responsibility to persuade your daughters to talk to your son. Your son made this mess. It is up to him to fix the relationship with his siblings. You can advise him that a written apology may help, but he needs to make the attempt repeatedly. Not the asshole. He sounds like a real piece of work. This is the best way to deal with people that act like this. Just regurgitate the garbage they spew back at them. Works every time. You're not the asshole. Your male offspring is a total jerk. AITA. Lol. Woo zing. Hope her son likes that tussin. Not the asshole. Your son wouldn't take no and tried to bully you into giving in. I think you said what you did because those words said to you hurt you very deeply. He may not remember saying them to you, but that doesn't negate the impact those words had on you. He may want to reconnect with his sisters, but that is their decision, and all you can do is respect their decision and let them know he called and wants to meet up with them, but that you are staying out of it. He needs to do some introspection and get therapy to work through his obvious anger and other emotions. Not the asshole. Why does he think it's okay for him to say that and not anyone else? He can dish it out, but he can't take it. I take it Eric doesn't fall far from the tree when it comes to his father. And it probably didn't help that his father didn't want him to live with him after the breakup. Does Eric know this, or does he think this was your fault too? He's an adult and he's now reaping what he's sowed. There's only so much you can do when someone doesn't want to change. He may change in the future, or he'll end up a very lonely person. That's a reflection on him and a consequence of his behavior rather than a reflection on you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Classic title says I'm a major asshole, but story makes me not so much of an asshole. TBH, I question what his intent to now want to talk to his sisters. Not the asshole. I had a sister like this. She tried to actually get my parents divorced, and she would only reach out to me for self-centered reasons. Last time she was trying to make grounds to sue my parents. Sometimes you need to serve crap hot back to them. That's gold. A good for you kid is a punk. Sometimes the wrong thing just feels like the right thing. NGL. I laughed even as I was thinking, oh no. Don't say that. Am I the asshole for telling my parents it's their responsibility to look after my brother? Not the asshole. Your own life is draining away. You need to get out and live your own life. It sucks for your parents. But he's their child and not yours. Not the asshole. Move out and go extremely low contact for a while. Not the asshole. You are correct. He is an adult and he has parents. Move and start living. not just surviving. And stop giving them money. Not the asshole. Becoming a caretaker for a loved one is a whole different ballgame. It changes the relationship. You have to take care of yourself. Your parents need to figure this out, and your brother needs to take his meds. I am sorry you are going through this. It is not your responsibility. Your parents may still be grieving your other brother, but they are going to have to do both. Not the asshole. Get out of there now before this ruins your life further. Get out and go back to college. Live your life. Not the asshole. You need to set some boundaries and draw a line in the sand. Family does not mean being the doormat or scapegoat for your parents and brother. Good luck. Make a plan. Get your stuff together and get out. While I feel bad for your parents, this isn't your problem. I've been where you are up. With my own loved one. That illness is a wicked one. One that unfortunately, sometimes, hurts those around them. The choice is yours, but ultimately it is your life and your needs that need to be put first. Always. I'm now 2 years out of that situation and thriving and happy. Seek therapy and maybe look into treatment for PTSD. It's common to develop it after living with an unstable person. Loving someone is still possible from afar. 3. Not the asshole. I'm so sorry this has been placed on your shoulders. You won't be able to take care of anyone after your parents are gone, including yourself, if they don't allow you to grow and prosper now. Yes. Tell them you can't do it on your own. And have a conversation with your brother when he is on the meds about how he is off the meds. You've only got one life. It's okay to choose yourself sometimes. Get out fast or this will be your forever life. Not the asshole. How the hell did they take $10,000 from you for bills for 1 year? I would ask for most of it back. Not the asshole. They need to put him in a home if they can't take care of him anymore. When you have children, they are your responsibility, not that of your other children. Run. Run as fast as you can. If your brother is an adult who chooses to remain unmediated, it's not anyone's responsibility to take care of him, not yours or your parents. Not the asshole. If your parents have power of attorney over him, they can have him declared mentally incompetent and have him detained. You need to leave this situation. You are essentially being held prisoner by your family. They are abusing you. Leave. Not the asshole. This life you're living is slowly killing you. Leave now while you can and rebuild your life. Your parents and your brother will figure things out. I'd take a new job and move. And I wouldn't even leave a note. You don't have a life of your own now, and this role as caretaker has so isolated you. It's making you feel guilty. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. And if you have the means to just move now, you should do that. Like, pack what you need and just leave. They can't stop you and they aren't your responsibility. Get as far away as you can and cut them off. Not the asshole. Obviously. Read what you wrote. I know he is your brother. But realize the situation you are in. Why do you keep yourself in this situation? Remove yourself from the picture entirely unless he takes his medication. Tell him you will do just that. Tell your parents you will not be his caretaker anymore. Move out. Can Adult Protective Services do anything for him? He and your parents will have to figure something out, and I am sure they are capable of doing that. But why would they when they know they have a free nurse? Run. Run far and fast and quietly. Get out. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Get out. Get out right now. The longer you stay, the harder it will be to leave. They need to find state resources to assist them. You need to go live your life, and he's their responsibility, not yours. Not the asshole. And you need to move ASAP. Not the asshole. Stop giving them money. Your family is just using you. Move out ASAP. Even if you have to stay at cheap hotels or couch surf. Don't keep making excuses. Just leave and figure out your life once you're free and safe, and block all of them. Your brother is an adult that's refusing to take care of himself. None of them are your responsibility. Not the asshole. Please, for your own health and safety, leave. Move away and don't look back. Your brother is not your responsibility. Op. You needed to move out yesterday. Can you afford it? If not, bide your time until you can afford it and simply move. If you can hire a storage spot and move your non-essential items a bit at a time so you can basically just move in less than an hour. That would be good. 2. There is no negotiations with terrorists or unreasonable family that has parentified you to the point you cannot understand that your health and safety are at risk. Not the asshole. Op, I say this with all seriousness. Pack your shit and leave. Once you do go and see with your parents. The fact that they are using you, literally sucking the life from you, is horrific enough, but the fact they expect you to take care of your brother for the rest of your life is so damn selfish. You wouldn't be the asshole if you lit out at midnight with just the clothes on your back, moved to a different state, and changed your name, phone number, and email address. Plastic surgery optional, but also not the asshole. Dear enabler, you are not the parent as long as the actual parents are physically able to care for their child. At age M34, this no longer child is able to care for himself, including self-medication. However, to validate his condition, take a video of him during a reaction. Ask him how the family may help. Your parents are way out of line asking you to assume their implied roles. You are not abandoning your family by living your life. Nor should you be on call. Medication will manage the condition along with regular medical visits. Not the asshole. Run. Run fast and far. Not the asshole. Move out today. The situation is killing you and destroying your life. I'm sorry for your parents, but he is their responsibility. When they try and guilt trip you into returning and taking over for them, you will have to go LC. You need to just leave. This is not your responsibility. Not the asshole, but you need to figure a way out if this situation. Not the asshole. Please move out as soon as you can. You will not be happy in this house as long as nobody will take responsibility, especially your brother himself. Girl, run. It's not your responsibility. Period. You already did way too much. Not the asshole, but your parents absolutely are. If you're shelling out money while trying to save, then this is not a mutually beneficial situation. As it was presented to you. Go take care of yourself and your future. It must be clear that no one else in your family will help you with your future. It's up to you. You've helped how you can. No sense in going down with the ship. And lastly, it's not your responsibility to ensure your brother has care. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. X200B. Move out. And escape. And go no contact with your parents. X200B. They have exploited and abused you far too long. Don't tell them your new address. This is horrifying. Please get out of there. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for refusing to foot the restaurant bill? A few days ago, I visited a restaurant to catch up with some childhood friends. I'm not trying to brag, but I don't know if it's worth mentioning. My friends and I grew up in a small town in England filled with poverty. Most of my friends work full-time but struggle to make ends meet. Some have a family of their own. Now, I was the only one in the friendship group to go to university. And I now earn a comfortable salary where I won't have to worry financially. Looking back now, this should have been a red flag. But when I got there, my friends ordered loads of stuff. Like meals with at least 5 sides each and many drinks. I was a bit flabbergasted as my friends were complaining they didn't have much money to spend. And some of my thoughts were it must have been payday as it was the start of the month. I ordered myself a cheeseburger meal with an extra side of onion rings. Once I finished my dinner, I asked if I could have the bill for my food. When the bill came, I thought they got it wrong as it came to £870. And there were about 8 or 9 of us. I told the waiter there was a mistake as I had calculated my account, which totaled £15. The waiter told me he was told to do it as one whole bill as I would pay in full. I told the waiter that's not happening, and I said I only want to pay for the food I ate, and I told him what I had. The waiter returned to the till and got a new bill printed, which was my total I paid, and went home. As I was irritated and pissed. My friends are in a difficult position right now. But if they asked me 2 or 3 days in advance if I could pay the bill for all of them, I would have politely said yes, as they would have asked. But they didn't. The next day, I woke up to some angry texts from our WhatsApp group chat. One of my friends in the group chat PM'd me and explained the situation. He managed to pay for his dinner but said an argument broke out in this group, and the manager got involved. Most of the bill was borne, but they couldn't afford the rest and had to stay and clean for 2 hours. Most of the group are still pissed about the situation and me not paying the bill. I feel like I'm an asshole here because I didn't foot the bill and feel guilty due to the fact I found out they had to do cleaning and they're struggling with money now. Am I the asshole for this? I appreciate your judgment, as part of me feels guilty but at the same time not guilty as they didn't ask me. Not the asshole. You aren't obligated to pay for someone else's meal. Even more so when they drop that on you. If anything, they're the TA here and should never assume. Not the asshole. Your friends see you as a paycheck and they assumed you would pay. I don't see how anyone would call them friends after a bill like that. Not the asshole even if you invited them and they misunderstood and thought you were footing the bill. They clearly planned on taking advantage of you if your meal was only 15, yet the total bill came up to almost 900 for everyone. That is horrible to do to someone unless they specifically stated don't worry about the cost, order as much as you want. This seems so fake. What restaurant is letting people work off their bill? They would call the police. Is this a real? Think the standard practice is to call the cops on bill dodgers. Don't know any restaurants that actually let you work it off. I mean, for one, they already have paid staff to do it, so your friends would just be in the way, and for another, I don't think they would be covered by insurance, and I doubt they would want to encourage this or everyone would do it. So yeah, feels a bit off to me. If it is real, not the asshole. If not, who cares? I'm having a hard time believing this story because you said the ones that couldn't pay had to stay and clean up for 2 hours. Perhaps England is different, but in the US, the FDA has rules against this. Edited typo. I live in the UK, and I have never come across any restaurant where you have to stay and clean if you cannot pay the bill. They might call the police or ask you to give them post-dated checks. But the last thing any restaurant wants is a bunch of amateurs dicking around in the kitchen. 100 Not the asshole. Your friends are adults too. They know their own finances better than anybody. If they weren't willing to pay for their meals, they should not have ordered them. Case closed. Fake story. I worked in restaurants for 4 or so years. That work the bill off crap doesn't exist. The police get called. They want their money. Not some random Joe fumbling through their crap barely cleaning when they already have people there for the day to be paid to do exactly that. You think we send the dishwasher who's expecting to be paid for that day's work home because we got some broke people that can't pay their bill? So cringe cosplaying on the web like this. Info: did you arrange the meal and invite them? If so, is there any chance they thought since you'd invited them, you were footing the bill? I ask because I simply can't imagine a large group of people all being this presumptuous and entitled. What restaurant is this? In the UK, where they keep everyone trapped in a restaurant cleaning until the bill is paid. Modern food safety and employment laws make this illegal. The police weren't involved? Not the asshole your friends are grifters. What establishment in the UK makes people stay and clean if the bill isn't settled? Thinking face with raised eyebrow. You're the asshole, as this story is fake. Not the asshole. I have friends that have taken me out to eat when I'm low on funds. They make a lot of money. Never once have I thought to order excessively. I usually pick a mid-cost entree. Maybe suggest sharing 1 or 2 apps. And I don't drink, so no bar bill. And then maybe share a dessert if they want one. Even if I want a dessert. If they don't suggest it, I'll just eat something sweet at home. They still should have asked if that was the plan. But even if they asked you, they were greedy, gluttonous. Not the asshole at all. They wanted to trick you into paying. But you were not letting them, taking advantage of you. Congratulations for standing up for yourself this bravely. How many times are you going to post this? You're the asshole for making up this stupid shit. Making guests who can't pay stay to clean to cover their bill is only a thing in bad TV. I'll take things that did not happen, for $500, Alex. Not the asshole. At all. They did that on purpose and are not really your friends. They plan to do that. What restaurant actually has people clean to pay a bill? I served for a decade and we just called the cops. Fake AF. This reads like it was written by AI. I'm noticing more of these really boring writing styles and gives some stupid thing that gives it away, like they had to stay and clean for 2 hours. To confirm it's fake, must be some people asking, trolling with ChatGPT. I don't believe story. I smell bullshit. Not the asshole. Who does that to a friend? They tried to take advantage of you. Put you on the spot hoping you'd just pay. They ordered a lot, as you said. More than they could actually afford. Don't pay in the future. Even if they ask. You do it once. You'll be invited out more often. As long as you pay. Fake. Not the asshole. They are all asshole for just assuming you will be willing to foot the entire bill without any discussion beforehand. Unless someone has specifically offered to cover the bill. You are paying for your own food. They then firmly cement their position as asshole by not only expecting you to pay, but expecting you to be completely happy footing them spending to excess. When the person paying the bill is eating a modestly priced meal, good etiquette would be to aim for a similar ballpark unless told otherwise. So yeah, your friends are asshole just out to take advantage of you. And deserve all of the consequences they experienced. Is this real or manufactured? Not the asshole. Why would they assume that you'd flip the bill just because you're better off than them?